This is Winston Cunningham. It is May 5th, 2025. So what's next? That's a lady's answer today when I ask her, what's the biggest question on her mind? And she said, what's next? Okay. So this will be an attempt to answer that for her. The 10 most wanted list. If you list what you want in the order of their importance, first being what you want most, the 10th being what you want the 10th most, and keep looking at that, read over it every day, but visualize the purpose for each one, and also the activity that will give it a place to be. So there's an overall ideal that you want to establish this lifetime. And these 10 most wanted can represent goals, whether they be mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, or things, whatever you want. But arrange them in the order of their importance and revisit. Well, you look at the list every day and visualize each one. And every couple of weeks or so, look at it with the intention of seeing if those priorities you set are still what you really want. If not, then rearrange the numbers or take some off the list, put some more on, whatever it takes. And this will teach you how to develop a proper perspective. If you've got a list of 10 things to do in a day's time, that's a to-do list. It's different than a 10 most wanted list. But if you only get the number one thing done in a day's time, don't feel bad. At least you've done the most important one. If you start with the number one and work your way down. But as you look at this list every day, state it to yourself, picture yourself having it. Why do you want it? Make that part of the picture. Maybe the most important part of the picture is having a place for it to be, planning an activity that will help in bringing this about, or give it a place to rest. Because once you say I want, you become responsible for preparing yourself to receive. So that's where the work comes in. And maybe the greater part of the work is paying attention. My experience has shown me that things will come to me in a little bit different way than I suspected. And I think that's because I'm not perfect at this game. And when I get perfect at it, it'll probably be time to go. So this is a work in progress. So the lady asked me, what's next? That depends. It depends on what you want. What you want. When God kicked us all out the nest and he said, you kids go play, and when you grow up and you come back and we'll talk. So we're all in the process of growing up, you see. And for myself, I can only speak for myself. It's going to take me another couple of days. So all of these things that I can learn, and I learned a lot at the School of Metaphysics, and that's where I got this 10 Most Wanted list. Dr. Jerry Rothmill, who was the first teacher, he didn't want to take credit for the school, but he deserves it. He said there's, even if you're not a lifelong student, he said he hoped there'll be two things that you will continue doing, and that was the 10 Most Wanted list was one of those things, because it helps you establish a sense of priority or proper perspective. And the other thing was the memory exercise, and that's the big one. I remember that one because I'll just go ahead and give you the memory exercise since I mentioned it, because otherwise you'd be curious. But you start tonight before you go to bed. And well, what was the last thing I did? Remember that. Get a clear picture. And then go back to the thing before that. You were driving home from work, maybe, or what you had for supper, and who you met during the day. You will go back and remember 5 distinct episodes or happenings during the day. That's one day. Go back to the day before. Remember 5 distinct happenings for that day. Go back to the day before. You go back 5, it's a 5-step, 5-day, 5-step reversal. You go back 5 days, remember 5 episodes each day. It's a little rough in the beginning, but something that really helps is when you're going through the day, you're in the middle of an experience, just kind of tag it to yourself. Say, well, this is something I want to remember. And that will help you, in retrospect, remembering. Keep track of the time that it takes you to complete this exercise. 5-day, 5-step reversal. I don't think people at the school would mind me passing this along. It's just part of the routine exercise we do at the School of Metaphysics. Because the School of Metaphysics is not like any other school. You don't just read a few books and listen to a few lectures and take a few tests and that's it. No. They teach applied metaphysics. The only way you can progress is to be using what you're learning. You can't fake it. You'll wash yourself out. They don't have to, they won't have to run you off. You run yourself off. No. And when I went through the process, I wanted what was there. I had to have it. And I wasn't sure what was there, but I did what Jesus said to do. I asked. I knew there was a system available to help me that would explain how things work and help me get a handle on some of this stuff. And I said, I didn't care what you call it, or where it is, I want it. But what I said next is what caused it to come to me. I say caused it to come to me. I said, I will have it. And that's what works. And that's why I'm going through this 10 Most Wanted list and this memory exercise. Memory exercise, the biggest holdback for people understanding that they create their own reality is they don't remember, when something happens, they don't remember having thought this that caused it, because there's a span of time. But doing the 5-day, 5-step reversal begins to increase your memory, and at some point you'll begin to remember, oh yeah, I see how that happened now. And so you begin to connect with enough of the past to see what you did that caused what's happening now. And as a concept, you won't get anywhere with it unless you're doing the memory exercise. That's what it takes. And if a person's not willing to put in the work, then they can't have the benefits. That's the way the universe is set up. You can't fool yourself. So the 10 most wanted list puts things in proper perspective, and the memory exercise, you do it every day and keep track of it, and you'll notice the time keeps improving. And so you'll see that your memory improves. Now, how far you go with it, I don't know. At the School of Metaphysics, there was a specific assignment. I won't tell you what it is. You'll need to go there to find out. But there was a certain time that it needed to be done in, because, and I did it. It took me 2 years doing it every day to get to reach this specific time. And it was just in time for the lesson I was about to get, which required that I do this 5-day, 5-step reversal just ahead of that. That got me ready for this new thing. So I would not have got this new lesson had I not reached that goal. So, and I did it in time. I was amazed. And I'll never forget this. When I got down to the time it needed, it was like watching a movie reel going backwards. Just fast forward. Each episode during the day represented a picture. But when you put pictures together on a film, that's what it was like. So memory is good depending on how it's used. And with enough of the 5-day, 5-step reversal, you can connect with how you caused what's happening now. It's amazing. That's the way it is. It's not somebody up there saying you get this and you don't. That screws with a lot of people's head. Head represents control. There's 7 levels of mind, and when you're using undivided attention, that's the key thing. Undivided attention. Everything rests upon undivided attention. As Jesus said, if thine eye be single, body will be full of light. Light is awareness. So if you really want to get serious and get down to business, then go to the School of Metaphysics. And I'm not going to tell you it'll be easy. It's the hardest thing I ever went through. But it's been the most valuable thing I went through. It's what I had to have. And thanks to Jesus' instruction, I found the School of Metaphysics that had the answers to my questions. Not rocket science. Jesus said, if you want something, ask. But my experience going forward now, my experience brings me to the point to where, for the last almost 40 years, I've developed a really good working relationship with my own soul. So my soul feeds me what I need to know when I need to know it. I know how to work with that. But I didn't know it when I was sitting in the back row of the church or in wherever I was in the school. No, I learned this at the School of Metaphysics through my effort. Not something granted to me, because we were all given the same damn thing in the beginning. The same thing. Nobody got more than another. Now, it's not that way today because everybody although we're all headed to the same place, back home, we all get there at different rates. This is where a matter of choice comes in, because it is a matter of choice. Some people get there faster than others. It depends. Those are two of the biggest words I learned at School of Metaphysics from my teacher. It depends. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do till I'm doing it. But meanwhile, I've built a lot of things that I can use to help get me there. So, what's next? It depends on you. If you wait for somebody else to do something so you can see how to do it, well, you can do that. Don't know how long that'll take. I believe that anything can be learned, can be established, and it depends on you. That's why you're an individual. There's no one else like you. There's no one like me. And I hear people say, well, thank God for that. These exercises were the key to the whole thing. Looking back on my experience with the School of Metaphysics, and it was the exercises that caused my consciousness to expand. And it's still true today. I'm doing exercises today. Not as many as I was doing in the school, but I'm still gaining some ground, a lot of ground. And, well, for instance, the talks that I put on Facebook page, We Are Valuable Media, if you want to hear something interesting, just hear my talk on getting old is a choice. I'm 81. I'm not old. That's a choice. If you want to follow the consensus of opinion, they'll tell you that someone else has already made that choice for you. I didn't buy that. I still don't buy that. I've got my life planned now. At this point, I've got it planned through 140. That's another almost 60 years. The day before my 80th birthday, I made these plans. And so I'm filling in the details as I go. I don't have time to get old. I'll give you this little secret ahead of time, but hear the whole talk if you want to know my experience with it. Getting old is a choice. And how many people do you know have already made that choice, and you can hear it in their words? Because when there's a group of older people get together, they talk about their old memories, their current diseases, like they describe them with pride. I don't hang out with old folks. I don't want that rubbing off on me. So what's next? It depends on you. The next step you take is a choice. And many times, I didn't know what the next step was going to be. This is the final answer to this question, what's the next step, or what's next? When you step out to take your next step, you will begin to see how. If you want to see how before you take the step, you're lost. No faith. As Jesus said, the faith of a mustard seed will get you there. You'll have the faith to move mountains. Mountains, in the language of man, are obstacles, are challenges. And you'll find yourself turning obstacles into challenges by understanding the two words, obstacle, challenge. What are the differences? You can go from obstacles to challenges. So what's next is meeting the challenge that you accept. I did another talk on the process of acceptance, which is the last step to change. You might want to hear that one. Anyway, I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you. Good night.